Okay, so I want to talk about Amazon Go's impact on traditional stores. I think that there's little doubt that traditional supermarket chains would switch to a similar model as Amazon Go should Amazon Go prove to be a workable product. I think Amazon's size and market share would ensure that other companies will have to adapt to its practices just to survive. Um, I think part of the reason for that is cost, right? If your competitor is in the same business and is running at a lower cost, then comparatively, they're outperforming you. You'd have Amazon Go stores running with fewer employees on an automated model, and here you are, you're paying out to employees in order to keep your store running. Um, and I think this would give Amazon a lot more breathing room, right? If you have a ShopRite or a Stop and Shop that has lower prices, that's fine because Amazon could probably afford to cut their prices to match and still make a profit just because they don't have to pay out employee salaries. On the flip side, if both companies have relatively similar prices, I think Go stores would still be coming out ahead, as at the end of the day, they'd have more money to reinvest into their business or to improve their stores. The second reason I think other chains would have to adopt is because of platform parity, right? The next leap for Amazon will likely be moving forward from an Amazon Go retailing model. So it's basically the new baseline for how their stores will operate. They're going to be reassessing and looking to see what they can do to improve from here. If a competitor isn't upgrading to something similar to Amazon Go, then they're going to have to work twice as hard to compete if there's a step forward or a new development that Amazon comes up with. So, for example, imagine if you had an entire chain of supermarkets that hadn't started implementing self checkout lanes. Today, I think most stores already have those, but I think if you found one that didn't, and we everybody started moving towards the Amazon Go model, for them to upgrade their entire point of sale process would involve them doing so from scratch. At least other stores have an operating model where they've got self checkout registers and they've got bagging lines and sensors already set up. So it's easier to transition from that self checkout line to Amazon Go than it would be to say that we're based on a traditional model and then we have to update to a self checkout model to then move straight to Amazon Go. Um, so I think from that perspective, I think most retailing chains would want to switch to the new model however they can. In terms of how difficult it would be to move to Go, I think there are going to be a couple of roadblocks. You're going to have stores trying to catch up to Amazon's level. Amazon has been working on this for some time now. They've got 5 stores open at this point. They've purchased Whole Foods recently, so they have outlets where they can implement the system. They've got outlets where they can test it out if they need to. They've got a whole supply chain built in for their Amazon stores because they can just pull or cannibalize whatever Whole Foods is running off of and maybe divert some of it towards their Go stores. So it's pretty daunting and seems like an uphill climb. And I think there are two main factors for Go to be implemented in other traditional retail stores. The first is whether the other stores have some kind of similar technology being researched or not. I already mentioned self checkout lines, so it's a question of whether that process has been looked at in terms of automating it even more. It's possible that while the stores might not be able to come up with this new method internally, they could absolutely partner with an external technology company like Google to come up with a method to combat Amazon's proficiency in this. Google has already partnered with Walmart, for example, in terms of coming up with a viable alternative to Amazon's Alexa system where you can use your voice to just order new products. Google has been working with Walmart to come up with a similar process. So it would make sense if they wanted to challenge Amazon in the automated checkout process. Google could provide a very big boost to Walmart. And I think they've also implemented that same system with other retailing partners, so they could expand it to them as well. I think the second thing that or the second way that you could implement Amazon Go would probably be Amazon itself making its technology available to other retailers. This could either be in the form of licensing out their current technology to implement in other stores. So they could just come in and say, look, you give us a set number or a set fee for a specific number of stores, and we'll come by, we'll update your stores, and there'll just be one corner of the space where it's automated checkout. I guess the other way they could do it is if they go towards more of a sort of like a landlord facilitator model where they have the store set up and retailers would come in and pay for shelf space. So they would say, okay, if you want to, you can pay us this set amount of money for a set number of shelves in this area. You can put your products there, and we'll sort of allow you to sell your products in our store. It's very similar to their current model. Essentially, Amazon functions as a facilitator, currently giving vendors a platform to sell their own products. So maybe it's a way that they can implement this new method. In the next video, we'll talk more about where I think Amazon Go's impact will be on the job market.